What most of us in the media are waiting to do is to say that it happened, which it has not yet done. Some analytical observations about all this now from Fred Barnes, executive editor of the Weekly Standard, Mara Lass, a national political correspondent of National Public Radio, and the syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer, Fox News contributors all. A big event planned this weekend. No sign that by Hillary Clinton that her invitation here in Washington, no invitation, so far as we know, to Barack Obama to come. Mara, what is going to happen at this event?
So it's a unity event without the nominee, but we are told this time she really, really means it. In other words, it's been this cat and mouse game where you think she's going to concede and acknowledge he's the nominee, and then she doesn't do it. But this time, supposedly, she really, really will acknowledge he's the nominee and promise to fight for him and do it in a more, let's say, heartfelt way, and not a grudging way as she's done it in the past. Look, she
hasn't done it at all yet.
She hasn't done it at all. She's had a 24 hours of really being chastised by her fellow Democrats, some of whom were appalled by her lack of grace in the Tuesday night performance. Now, the other thing that was really important is that she issued a written statement, and Howard Wolfson said...
No, he issued a written statement in his own words.
Howard Wolfson issued a written statement, but said that she is not seeking the vice presidency, and more importantly, the choice here is Senator Obama's and his alone. And now I think the fact that she had to do that is extraordinary.
Charles?
Because it's pretty obvious it is his choice. That's a hell of a concession. Look, we start with the proposition that the Clintons are pathological narcissists. Okay, that's the baseline. But they're also not stupid. She's not an ordinary loser. She's not like a John Edwards or a Richardson who got knocked out early. She came in almost a dead heat. You know, she got about 50% -1 of the Democratic base and constituency, and she represents them, including a feminist constituency that sees her story as the story of a woman who worked in this firm for a quarter of a century, awaiting her promotion. Along comes this elegant, dashing male interloper who takes it away, and that's a story that resonates for a lot of her constituency. And she wants respect. She also has a bit of power because, again, she was not knocked out early. She has an army behind her. Now, she's not going to have a nomination, but it gives her something from which to demand of him. I think the bidding starts at the $20 million, her debt, and it includes everything except the vice presidency. He's never going to hand it to her. But it could include, for example, an understanding about the bill, getting the ambassadorship to the Court of St. James. It gets him out of town, and he could finish his Oxford degree.
Not far enough out of town. Kazakhstan. that might make more sense. Someplace where there are not direct flights back to Washington. Look, nobody, her saying she's not seeking the vice presidency, that doesn't mean anything. Nobody publicly seeks it and says, I am seeking it. But what? Look, a very simple thing happened. And it speaks well for Obama, by the way. Her strategy failed. Her strategy was to not endorse him, to make life miserable for him. And her pledged delegates stayed with her. But an important group didn't. And that was all the superdelegates who were with her. And you saw Ed Rendell said, you can't negotiate for this vice presidency. And Charlie Rangel was against her doing this. And a lot of her superdelegates were. And that completely undermined her strategy. The good part about Obama is, he really didn't flinch during this. He didn't do anything. He didn't, try to work out a deal or negotiate. He stood firmly. Look, this was the first test. Now, it's not the biggest test, but it is a test. And he came through it right well.
Now, if she'd done this differently, which is to say, conceded the race and privately communicated that she wanted to be vice president, would that have been different? In other words,
No.
I don't think all those New York superdelegates would have been mad with her.
No.
They might, in fact, they might have been with her for that.
That's right. I don't think that she would have gotten herself on the ticket necessarily. I think there are other reasons other than her performance. Her performance made it easier for him to reject her. But no, I think she diminished her stock inside the Democratic Party over the last 24 hours. Now, the Clintons' motto is kind of live to fight another day. They have comeback after comeback after comeback. I think that all this is repairable, and I think as she campaigns her heart out, as she has promised, for Barack Obama for the fall, she will also be trying to repair her standing with various segments of the Democratic Party coalition, like African Americans, which she needs to do if she's going to have a future.
Let's look ahead, if we can, and posit this event. They're not even sure what building they're going to use. It's her supporters coming to Washington. She gets up in front of them. They'll be delirious for her, as they have been all along, cheering her wildly. These are the delegates that she and supporters that back her. When she gets up there, will she be able to pull the trigger and say, I hereby concede the election and endorse my opponent, Barack Obama? And how will they respond? What's this going to be like?
She'll do it with a gracious unctuousness that will be just astonishing. It'll work, and you'll know she'll be doing it through her teeth. Her fans will be
screaming. You think she'll do it, though?
Absolutely.
You don't think she'll get up close? You think she'll do it?
I think finally she's going to.
Her fans will chant Denver, and she will shush them and say, no, let's be civil here.
Of course, because she's now pursuing Plan B.
Right.
Yeah.
Plan B is to be nice. Being tough didn't work because she couldn't hold her coalition together, but being nice, which usually doesn't work in war and diplomacy or politics either, but it's all she has left.
It's going to be a hell of a show.
Mm-hmm.
When we return with our panel, the bickering over soaring gas prices continued on Capitol Hill today. Which party has the upper hand? Can anything be done to save money at the pump? Well, this has got to be a good political story. Stay tuned.